It is 6:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Friday, February the 5th, 2021. This is TstreeT Controversy with my colleague Big J. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to be very, very critical here because we have a big, significant fight coming up, a possible final WBO 154-pound eliminator. Tszyu versus Dennis Hogan. Tszyu. Okay, let me just say something right here. And if you've noticed, for those who have been watching our videos, we will no longer refer to Tszyu as the son of Castano. His name is Tim, as he would tell you himself. We're not doing that shit no more. So now that you know who he is, let's move on. 17-0 with 13 KOs, 154-pound, if I'm correct right now, currently ranked number, let me pull the rankings up real quick, number 2. He's going to be taking on Dennis Hogan, March the 31st of 2021. Location, obviously, it's going to be in Australia. Venue unknown as it stands of now. Dennis Hogan, 35 years old, 28-3-1 with just 7 KOs. Now, many feel that Dennis Hogan, just a couple of years ago, barely under a couple of years ago, April 13th of 2019, many feel that he should have been the WBO 154-pound champion of the world, because a lot felt that he had beat current 160-pound contender Jaime Munguia. Then Dennis Hogan moved up to 160 pounds, fought WBC 160-pound champion Jamal Charlo, and now he's back. So I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Me and Big J were talking about it yesterday. And to me, my personal opinion is Tszyu is not battle tested. The Jeff Horn that he fought is not the Jeff Horn that I'm going to say that we Americans know him to be. So I look at Jeff Horn as being somewhat of a stepping stone for Tszyu, and not them. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I don't think the Jeff Horn was the fighter that he used to be. And the fact that he looked, to me, it looked like he showed up to the fight sick anyway. Now, this is not disrespect to Tszyu, but if he beats Dennis Hogan, then it's like, okay, all right, I can start matching you up. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and say, it's hard for me to say, but I think I'm going to go with Dennis Hogan. Right on the record. I put it on the record. There we are. Where you at with it, Big J?
Well, first of all, mate, g'day. How you guys all doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm fucking chopping at the bit about this, and as Big Kev used to say, mate, I'm excited. Personally, from my view, I think it's a 50-50 fight. It's going to go one just because I can't. The heart says Hogan, the head says Tszyu, but I'm going to go, fuck it, one of two ways. Tszyu by knockout in the later rounds. If Dennis is going to win, he'll outpoint him. I don't see Dennis knocking anyone out. Doesn't knocked anyone out since 2014.
Now,
He's not a knockout puncher.
Now, see, this is where we were disagreeing yesterday, because if Dennis Hogan wins on points, how does he win on points? Does he outwork him, or does he outbox him?
He'll outbox him, because Dennis is a very, very smart, strategic, and he's a tough bastard. He's Irish. Of course he's a tough bastard. So he's very tough, battle-tested fighter, where Tim is still yet to prove that. So Tim is yet to prove that he can take a shot and keep going. He's actually can dish him out, but Dennis Hogan ain't no blown-up welterweight. He's the real deal. So it's going to be an absolute cracking fight, and I can't wait for March 31st for it to rock up. It's going to be fantastic. But yeah, it's really there's a lot of factors of this fight that a lot of questions are going to be answered in this fight.
So if you don't know what's at stake, the winner of this fight will likely be the mandatory two-face. Not saying that they'll get the winner. Two-face, the winner of which is happening on February the 13th, 2021 on the Zone here in the States. I'll be covering that fight. Teixeira, WBO 154-pound champion versus Brian Castano. I'm going to tell you an interesting fight to go look at. If you get a chance to check it out, go watch Brian Castano versus Landy Lara. It was a PBC on Fox card. I covered it. Now, the winner of this will likely, depending. Now, we're going to talk about also this too, Big J. Now, follow me. Now, the winner, if it's Brian Castano, who is heavily associated and affiliated with PBC, it's safe to say that he's a premier boxing champions, Al Heyman fighter under the same stable as Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford, Deontay Wilder. He's under that banner. It's safe to say that if Castano wins, that Jamal Charlo, unified 3-belt, WBC, WBA Super, and IBF, and Castano will likely fight to unify, and here in the States, it'll likely be on pay-per-view, to be the PBC's first and the 154th first ever undisputed 4-belt era champion. Now, Big J is going to tell you what, the possible rumor is what will happen with Teixeira if he wins. Go on, Big J, take it away.
Well, basically, No Limit Boxing, Matty Rose promoter, contacted Golden Boy, Teixeira's, Oscar De La Hoya, to see if they had any interest in coming to Australia to give Tszyu a possible shot at Teixeira, as they were waiting for the fight to happen between Castano. They didn't know if it was going to happen or not due to restrictions. Now, it's possible that they could have made an agreement that if Teixeira was to win, he would fight Tszyu in Australia. Now, there was a couple of things floating around. There's nothing to be confirmed, but there were talks between Golden Boy and No Limit Boxing before WBO squashed it all and made Teixeira fight Castano as he should have. So it's possible that if Teixeira wins that fight, and Tszyu should hope that he does, because if Castano wins, I don't believe that Castano will come to Australia to fight the winner of Tszyu Hogan. Tszyu's best possible shot at getting that WBO title if it's Teixeira wins. If Castano wins, I don't think he's going to have much of a hope, because, as you said, Charlo will just buy that belt and give, Castano a lot more money than what No Limit would give him, correct, and then they'll have a huge unification bout. So that's the possibility that the Golden Boy and No Limit were in talks, and I heard one or two things, or read one or two things, that maybe they could have set up. They were trying to set up a fight between Teixeira and Tszyu.
So I feel that if Jamel Charlo Castano happens, and Jamel Charlo wins, which he'll be the favorite to win, that Jamel Charlo will drop all the belts and move to 160, and his brother will move to 168. This is going a little far down, and Errol Spence will move to 154. So I guess what I'm saying is I think that Tszyu is going to end up fighting for a vacant title. I don't see him, getting I don't see him getting Charlo or Castano if Castano wins. And as you said, it's only going to be Teixeira,
And there's nothing in concrete that would happen anyway. So there was only, it's only possibilities and stuff. So it's looking unlikely that the winner of Tszyu Hogan would get a shot at the WBO title. It would be rather a long shot. But having said that, it's still a great domestic fight.
So going back to Tszyu versus Dennis Hogan before we go, we're going to do a whole different video on Castano versus Teixeira. Going back to Tszyu versus Dennis Hogan, right now, what do you feel? Okay, we've seen, and we put the clip in the past of a Tszyu getting dropped by a lesser opponent in a Wade Ryan, correct? Flash knockdown. Wasn't really buzz, but nonetheless flash knockdown. Now we have a battle-tested Dennis Hogan here. Now those two fights right there, along with Jaime Munguia and Jamal Charlo, is more than Tszyu has on anything on his resume. So
yes.
So I'm wondering what happens when this fight goes late, and also do we know, despite the 13 KOs, look who he's knocked out, for example, Tszyu in his last fight. Now, we have to be critical. Tszyu in his last fight against a blown-up welterweight, a ranked number 15 welterweight, by the way, barely scraping the bucket, Bowen Morgan. So what does Tszyu, he has those 13 KOs, but I'm not sure from what I've seen and the research from the fights that I've watched that are available online, and I can tell you I've seen all of them, I'm not sure if he can stop a Dennis Hogan. But then again, I can't see Dennis Hogan outboxing him. I can see Dennis Hogan, working, crowding his space, because we know that Tszyu is very technically sound from what we've seen based against the level of competition that he's fought. What we don't know is the intangibles and what happens if somebody crowds his space. You see what I'm saying? What if they take the jab away?
Yeah, Tim works everything off the jab, and he's a range finder. He works everything at range.
What if his range gets taken away?
He's not an up-close personal fighter. He finds his range and he works from there. So if if you watch the Jeff Horn fight, he never got too close to him. He always
He
kept him
didn't.
at range. Even when he was getting in there and beating the daylights out of him, always kept
But
him
at the
at
same
range.
time, Jeff Horn was just running right at him. He just ran right up with no defense. So, once again, the type of fighters he's fighting.
Yeah, well, Dennis Hogan is a completely different fighter to Jeff Horn.
Mm. By the way, Dennis Hogan will be 36 years old when he steps into the ring against Tszyu. So far, have you heard anything on possible venues or any predictions on where it could happen? And undercard thoughts.
My guess would be. My guesses are probably Sydney or Brisbane because that's where those two have big followings. Obviously, Tszyu's from Sydney, Dennis Hogan's from Brisbane.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my guess, but we haven't heard any possibilities, and it's probably a good thing that they don't do what they did last year with Hornzu and announced 5 different stadiums that are 1,000 k's apart from each other. So it's probably a good thing they just wait until they've got the venue sorted and just tell us, okay, that's where it's going to be. But probably Sydney or Brisbane is where I'm tipping. I don't see they'd be putting it anywhere else. Mm-hmm. Will it be a stadium fight? I don't think it would be.
Why wouldn't it be?
A, probably due to COVID restrictions. B, it's going to be March 31st, which is the start of the football, the football season starts March 11th. So even though they could get a stadium, it would be harder to get one once the football season starts. There's no real restrictions in New South Wales or Queensland at the moment, but you don't really know. But who knows? I mean, and they've got to know who they're going to get for the undercard because they're not going to get Paul Gowan. Because
that's what I was going to ask you. From what we talked about the last undercard for the Bow and Morgan, it was pretty good. So the undercard pretty much carried the main event. So. Any thoughts on who can possibly, be on the undercard, and who to look out for maybe? Who was the kid you were telling me about, and I keep forgetting his name, the one that had that fight of the night? I always forget his name.
Liam Wilson.
Liam Wilson.
Yeah, he's the one that knocked out Jesus. What was his name? Jesus Saraja, I think it was last year. I think it was in February of last year. Knocked him out with that left hook. He was out for the ground. Liam Wilson's appeared on a couple of Tszyu undercards. There's what was the other fella's name that had the fight of the year? Telford.
There you go. That's the name. That's the guy.
Yeah, Telford. Yeah, possibly he could be there. I know who's not going to be there because they're on the undercard of Mundine Zarafa is Shanika Johnson's fighting Shannon O'Connell, so they won't be on the card. I looked at BoxRec before. There's been no real talk about the undercard, but they'll probably wait until the official announcement.
Before they start announcing
undercard fights.
Well, right now. What were you saying?
No, sorry, no, go ahead. I said, no idea at the moment. So.
Well, as I said, I'm looking at this type of fight for a Tszyu is okay. If you beat Dennis Hogan, it's like, all right, now I can start matching you up against the top guys. And more importantly, and this is every fighter on the level of Tszyu, a fringe contender. I want to see you fight somebody of quality before I start matching you against the top guys. I want to see a fight most recently. I want to see Caleb Plant versus David Benavidez before they start talking about Caleb Plant versus Canelo Alvarez. So for a guy like Tszyu, it's like, all right, beat Dennis Hogan. And it's like, all right, bro, now I can start, I want to see him go rounds. However, if a Dennis Hogan wins, then it's like, see, this is why, they were stepping you up the way they were. And you didn't pass your step up test. And that's boxing as a whole. Closing thoughts?
I mean, I can't wait to see the fight. I mean, it's going to be a very, very, very interesting fight. Basically, I think it's really a 50-50. I don't know which way to go off this. I mean, obviously, Dennis has got him on experience. Yeah. Tim's got him in youth, and, he hasn't. He's been active for the last 2 fights in the last 6 months. Dennis hasn't done anything since 2019, so it's really too close to call. But it's going to be a fantastic fight, and it'll give both blokes a chance to really take the get back onto the 154 scene and make their claim. So can't wait for it personally.
So I'm gonna go ahead and announce right now that the wheels are already in motion for this to be Fight View 360's. We're not going to name my fights in March. No, yeah, Fight View 360's first fight back in the field with full coverage. We're planning on going to this fight, right? Right, Big J?
It's possible.
Okay, so basically, we're working on it. Wait for them to announce the venue, but yes, if we can get there, we're definitely going to be providing, full coverage. So we'll update you on a later date. This is TstreeT Controversy with Big J and FightView360.com. Make sure you watch this space. Also watch the website. Watch the video I did before this, and you'll see that a lot of things are going on in the channel where things have been stagnant a little bit over the last couple of years, and now we're blossoming. Please subscribe, follow Big J. Take your time out right now and like the video. It's not going to take too long. Just click the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and follow Big J at Old Mate Big J on Twitter. Final, anything you want to say before we go? Once again, give out your Twitter handle.
Oh, yeah, it's actually Old Mate, just Old Mate B. I don't know why they wouldn't let me put Old Mate Big J there, but
there you go, Old Mate B. There you go. And please subscribe, like the video.